Picture this. It's 1989. The Berlin Wall crumbles. Across Eastern Europe, people are throwing off the shackles of communism. And in Czechoslovakia, it's no different. The Velvet Revolution, they called it. A peaceful uprising that ushered in the promise of democracy and freedom. People were ecstatic, hopeful, ready for a brighter future. They'd finally tasted freedom after decades of oppression. But little did they know, a new, more complicated chapter was about to begin. The old communist system, with its control over everything from factories to grocery stores, was on its way out. In its place, a shiny new market economy. Sounds good, right? Well, here's where things get tricky. To make this market economy work, Czechoslovakia had to do something called privatization. Basically, they had to take all those state-owned businesses and sell them off to private owners. Sounds simple enough? Not so fast. Imagine trying to sell off an entire country's worth of stuff, factories, shops, everything all at once. It was a massive undertaking, and it wouldn't be easy. But hey, at least it was a chance for a fresh start, right? Well, that's what everyone thought anyway. But as we're about to see, some folks were a little more equal than others when it came to grabbing a piece of the pie. Okay, time for a quick econ lesson. Remember that whole privatization thing? It's about taking things the government owns and selling them to private citizens. Sounds fair, right? Give everyone a chance to own a piece of their country. And that's where voucher privatization came in. Like a sweepstakes for state-owned companies. Every citizen got these vouchers, like golden tickets, that they could use to buy shares in these companies. On paper, it sounded pretty democratic. Everyone gets a shot. But here's the catch. Most people had no clue how the stock market worked, let alone how to value a company. So, a lot of them ended up selling their vouchers for a quick buck, often to these shady investment funds that popped up like mushrooms after the rain. And then there's direct sales. Think of it like selling your old car, except it's a giant factory, and the buyers might be your old communist bosses who conveniently knew exactly how much it was worth, not exactly a level playing field. And let's not forget management buyouts. That's where the guys who were already running the show under communism got to buy the whole shebang, often using money borrowed, surprise, surprise, from state-owned banks. So, in this grand privatization garage sale, who walked away with the best deals? Well, let's just say it wasn't your average Joe. Remember those former communist officials? Turns out, knowing where all the bodies were buried, sometimes literally, gave them a leg up in the new capitalist game. They had the connections, the know-how, and often a suspicious amount of cash lying around. But they weren't the only ones licking their chops. Enter the connected politicians. These savvy operators knew who to cozy up to in the new government. A little backroom dealing here, a conveniently timed law change there, and bam! They were swimming in privatization profits. And then there were the new business elites. These guys were like the slick-haired sharks of the capitalist world, making deals and amassing fortunes seemingly overnight. Where'd they get the money? Who knows? But they sure knew how to play the privatization game. Oh, and let's not forget our friends from abroad. Foreign investors saw a golden opportunity to snap up some prime Czech assets on the cheap. And who could blame them? It was a fire sale. The dust has settled on the privatization bonanza, but its legacy lingers like a bad smell. The problem wasn't just that a bunch of people got rich quick. It's that it happened in a way that felt rigged, unfair, and left a lot of ordinary folks feeling like they'd been sold out. Corruption? You bet. Transparency? What's that? The whole thing left a sour taste in people's mouths, breeding cynicism about the new system they'd fought so hard for. And you know what they say, a little cynicism goes a long way. This brings us to why this history lesson matters. See, that messy, chaotic, often unfair process of privatization had a huge impact on the kind of democracies and economies that emerged in places like the Czech Republic. The resentment, the inequality, the feeling that the system was rigged in favor of the powerful. It all contributed to the rise of populist leaders and parties who promised to drain the swamp and stick it to the elites. Sound familiar? So next time you hear about privatization, remember the Czech Republic story. It's a cautionary tale about the importance of fairness, transparency, and making sure that when it comes to building a new society, everyone gets a fair shake.